Hi everyone, welcome to Megan Sullivan Art. Decided to do this flip through on Christmas Day because I've just finished this particular journal and I need to keep the journal juggernaut rolling, as I say. So this is the first of 3 farm cooking themed journals that I'm doing. One of them is a gift and the other 2, this one, and one of the other ones will be items up for sale. Okay, so this is so that's a soft cover wraparound journal. The cover itself is 50 centimeters wide when it's unfolded and 22.5 centimeters tall. We've got 2 signatures, a total of 216 pages, and the middle of each signature has an envelope which I've created on the inside with some ephemera in there, and the tie is actually sewn to this flap here that you'll see. So I've just got a cute ladybug and a cute apple button there, which have been sewn on with the wax linen, which I use to bind my journals. And then you've got the fabric here sewn onto some calico to form the wraparound. Okay, so I've used several different digital kits with this one. We've got the Musings by Nikki, which the kit's called A Farmer's Wife. So this is the wraparound, and you'll see it's sewn there to the journal with the red thread. Is what I've used for the cover. I have also used a Nevermore Creations 17's digital kit called Ethels Garden, which was a kit she designed specifically for someone. Her ephemera kit, which is called Plant a Garden, and I've also used a kit from Sassafras and Treacle called, I can't remember, I don't know how to say it. So what I'll do is I'll put the link for the kit down below. So there's, most of the pages are Ethels Garden and the Musings by Nikki, A Farmer's Wife. So they're the main kit pages, and then some of the ephemera has come from the Plant a Garden and Sassafras and Treacle kit. So we've got this gorgeous fabric which I was given. We've got cows and roosters and little chicks. On the front I've got a journal card here which I've backed onto some orange dyed paper, stitched onto some brown paper bag, and then also some white paper bag which I've both inked with Vintage Photo, and then the white paper bag is inked with Pumice Stone Distress Inks by Tim Holtz. I've covered the stitching for the spine, which is a 3-hole pamphlet stitch, just with this, you know, foodie, farmy related fabric there, and the back is just plain. So the inside of the fold forms a pocket. So it's all lined with this kind of a felt type material. And in this pocket here, we've got 2 journal cards backed onto the orange Rit dyed paper, which has got a bit of a gold fleck to it in most cases. So they fit back in there. That's a full height pocket, that one. On the inside, so front and back, we have so it's got this felt as the lining, and then I've covered it with a canvas sheet. So it's a padded pocket, and then you've got a journal card in that one on the orange and gold paper. And the front pocket also has orange and gold paper backing with a big sunflower image on the front. So these are the kits. So these are the Musings by Nikki pages, and I've rounded all the corners. We've got book pages, we've got some vintage from 1950s encyclopedia of cooking pages, and we've also got a whole kids book in its entirety called A Year on Our Farm. So that runs in order. So all the pages are coffee dyed of the printed kit pages. So this is A Year on Our Farm. We've got this fabric ruffle, which is like a strawberry print all the way through. This is from the Ethels Garden kit. These are some vintage images that I got off of the public domain, so they're available to everybody, those ones. It's got a nice horse there. Year on Our Farm. Really nice, just general farming images. That's the vintage cookbook pages. Some chooks. So these are public domain images as well that I've taken and inked around. This is a kit image. This is a public domain image onto some baking paper, and then we've got this image too, which is in the public domain, just onto avocado dyed paper, that one. Got cow, horses, racing horses, some turkeys, different things. It's another fabric which has got some different vegetables and things on there. So this had those, you know, those old encyclopedia books that have those little notches for the different sections. This is another one of the images just glued down. Farm book. I like the tear, so I just kept that. Cute little girl in her kitten with some strawberries. Kids dictionary page. So this was chosen because of the word haystack, the definition of haystack. So it's a very, you know, unembellished journal. So this was from the cover of the kids book on farm, and I've just cut out any available images that I could. So that's quite thick. So it's a very blank journal ready for someone to either really embellish heavily themselves, or they could choose to just use it as a writing journal or a glue book. This was some eco dyeing that a friend of mine did with some, I think rose petals. So I've turned that into as the middle of the signature as like an ephemera folder. So this is a vintage like placemat, and we've got an image here of roses with a sheep, and I've just inked around that paper there. And then we've got this image too, which is from a magazine, and I've just backed that onto. That's actually an end page from a vintage book, end paper. Over here, this is from the British Library on Flickr. So this is a public domain image onto vintage music paper. That is an acetate pocket here. It's an overhead projector actually, sheet that I've used. This might be the Ethels Garden ephemera pack, I'm not 100% sure, onto the orange Rit dyed paper. And we've got two little tickets backed onto the orange paper and sewn around. Bit of strawberry fabric there. Another journal card, which I've inked around. And that's it for that page. So that just folds over. It's still in frame. More chooks, cooking, beautiful sunflower, pussycat. Another public domain vintage image, or, you know, retro kind of image. Moo cows. So this is an old image. This is also available on the British Library on the Flickr website, and I've backed it onto vintage music paper, and then I've sewn it onto that vintage end paper too. This is actually an index, or one of the pages from that vintage cooking book, listing a whole lot of different companies, manufacturers. And then we've got a pocket at the back. This is actually a modern piece, mushroom soup. So I've just inked around the edges of that to make it look a little bit more vintage, and I've included that in there. So that was one of my other ideas for this journal, was for someone to turn it into a recipe journal, to you know, put all their favourite recipes or even their family historical recipes. I've actually got quite a lot of my great grandmother's recipes that I'd like to do this for. Luncheons. Another bit of the book cover. Yeah, so I'm really happy with how it turned out. So the others will be kind of similar but different. Oops. Sorry, I will actually fix that piece up there. I hadn't realised that it had ripped. So more kit pages. So second signature. A moo cow. Roosters. This is a fabric pocket which I've backed onto paper. And then there's a rooster image there. I think that's one of the Warwick Goebel images onto vintage book page. Another book cover piece. Such a pretty image. That's definitely Musings by Nikki. So as I said, all the links to the digital kits I've used will be in the description box below. Little chickies, sheep. So it's the kind of book that could be used for someone in America or someone in Australia. So that was a pocket which I've turned into a belly band instead. This one was chosen for plough. Love those kids' dictionaries. This is 2 C6 envelopes, which I have glued the flaps together, inked up, added some paper for writing, some images, definitions, or like index from the cooking book, front and back with a bit of collage. And then inside we've got, this is the Ethels Farm. That's one of the journal cards. That could also be used as the cover for a journal too. And that was actually the lady who wanted this kit designed originally. That was her actual grandmother. This is another public domain retro image. Onto vintage book page or end paper. Moving on. Roosters. So the journal that I'm making as a gift, which is another farm country one, is for my sister-in-law, and she absolutely loves chooks. So hers has every available chook image that I could find from the digital kits and everything, and some of these retro images as well. And so she'll be using it for recipes primarily. Beautiful horse image there. Nat Williams, if you're looking, if you're watching, thinking of your horse journal. So this is the Musings by Nikki, a Farmer's Wife kit. So there's quite some nice horse images that you could incorporate from that kit. Big fat porkers, and cows, pussycat. So there are actual full recipes in here that could be used. And the end, and the final back pocket. So there we go. So that's the first of the super chunky farm / cooking journals. Yeah, so this one, I'm not sure if I'm going to list these on Etsy or if I'm just going to send a box over for consignment to Lindsay Zanor's shop, nevermorecreations17.com, because my first batch of journals sold like really quickly through her shop the first time. So I'm not sure, but we'll see how we go. So if not, I'll put the links to my Etsy shop if that's the way I decide to go. But if anyone is interested in the meantime and you would like to snap this up, please comment below or send me a message. Thanks very much. Have a great Christmas. Bye.